So instead of doing a walk and talk, I'm gonna do some yard work and talk while I'm doing yard work, because I wanted to do an update on my prostate cancer situation. So good morning, folks. It's that retired dude. Welcome back to the channel. I don't like doing yard work, but when you have a yard, you got to do it. So let's just get right into it. If you're a watcher of my channel, then you know that about a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. About the time I retired from the police department, I was going through my checkups because I was preparing to go around the world, go around the country, and just visit family and friends and just travel. And I wanted to make sure I was in good shape for that. So I was getting my work done to check on that, and my PSA level, which is my prostate specific antigen, which is some kind of a chemical that's produced by the prostate, that has a range of 0, starts at 0, which means there's no problems with your prostate, known problems, up to, whatever number it goes up to. But for me, for my age group, for my race, my PSA number was, I think, 5.46. I didn't know what that meant, but of course, the person said, you need to go see a urologist about this. So I did. The urologist looked at all the paperwork, all the blood samples and everything, and they told me that I needed to get a MRI, CAT scans, and all those things to find out why my PSA number was so high. So, very scary thing, but it had to be done. I went through it, and I had an MRI, which showed, I had CAT scans and MRIs, which showed lesions on my prostate. And I had to have a biopsy. So over the period of time before all these surgeries and stuff were being done, I'm monitoring my PSA number to make sure it's not going up too drastically, which is indicative of cancer spreading in your body and things like that. And it was staying pretty stable. It went from 5.4 down to 4.3 over a period of months. And prior to my surgery, my level had gone down to 3.02. Now, prostate numbers fluctuate for various reasons. My doctor, Gerard Henry, sent in a request to my insurance company to treat me with a procedure called Focal One, which is a high intensity ultrasound technique that is used to burn cancer off of a prostate if you don't have enough prostate cancer that requires your prostate to be removed. And based on all the tests they did, the MRIs, the biopsies, the pathologies, I had prostate cancer, but I didn't have enough prostate cancer at that time where my prostate had to come out. I was a little bit ahead of that. Fortunately, thank God I was ahead of that. But believe it or not, TRICARE denied it. Don't really know why they denied it. They didn't give a reason. I suspect it's because they decided this dude isn't isn't dying all the way yet. Because I've had friends that have had prostate cancer who had stages of cancer that were so high that they had to be treated like immediately, and they would pay for that. But in my case, they said no, they were not going to pay for it. So Dr. Henry told me, after it was my TRICARE claim was denied, which kind of shocked me, because I'm sitting up here with prostate cancer on an MRI through a biopsy, and the pathology showed the lesions were there, the prostate cancer was there, and the biopsy said, yes, this guy has prostate cancer. But TRICARE said, we're not paying for that treatment. Not at this time. So Dr. Henry said, you know what? He reminded me, I mean, he didn't have to remind me, but he had a trick up his sleeve. He said, you're a vet, correct? And I said, yes. He says, well, I'm pretty sure that the VA will pay for this. So I went to the VA with a letter from him, and the VA looked at everything, and they decided they would pay for it. The reason the VA paid for it is because Dr. Henry told me, which was verified by the nurse practitioner I talked to, or the physician assistant I talked to. No, I think it was nurse practitioner, who told me that if the VA agrees that you need a treatment as a vet, but they can't provide that treatment, then they'll pay for it to be done by an outside professional. So it took a couple of weeks. The VA looked at it and they approved it. So they agreed to pay for Dr. Henry's treatment, which is called Focal One. I did a video on Focal One a while back, last year when I first was diagnosed. And I went to see Dr. Henry, and he allowed me to film in his office, have a video on that, so people could see him and hear him talk to me. So we went through the Focal One treatment, and what it does is it burns. It uses a high intensity ultrasound beam, or beams plural. It targets the prostate cancer and it burns it out. It cuts it out of your prostate. But you have to have an amount of prostate cancer in your body that doesn't require your prostate to be removed all the way. So even though I had prostate cancer, I wasn't far enough along where the prostate had to come out. Again, I have a couple friends who were that far advanced. Matter of fact, I found out about Dr. Henry from a friend who has prostate cancer, and he was too far along for Dr. Henry to treat, and he was advised by the doctor to go have his entire prostate taken out, which he did that, and he's fine now, and he has no traces of prostate cancer in his body at this time that I'm aware of, or that he's aware of. So back to my story. When we got set up for the Focal One, about a week before, my PSA number was 3.2. So we went in and did the procedure. The Focal One did its thing. I was in recovery, which was horrible. I have a video on called What They Don't Tell You About Prostate Cancer Recovery. I had to wear a catheter, which was an experience that literally drove me almost into depression. Having a catheter coming out of your private parts for 14 days is an experience that I can't explain to you, and hopefully you'll never have to go through it. But I went through the catheter experience, which the catheter was supposed to come out in 7 days. After the initial surgery, it did come out, and within 24 hours, my bladder seized up on me, and I was not able to urinate at all. And if you've never been through an experience where you have a lot of urine in you and your body will not expel it, it is like nothing I can explain to you. To have to pee and your body will not let you pee. I ended up in the emergency room. This was like 8 days after the initial surgery. I forgot the number, like it was 400 liters of urine in me, and there was no way to get it out. So the ER nurse said, sorry, Mr. That retired dude. He said, we're gonna have to put a new catheter in you. And that's what happened. They put a new catheter in me. So let me tell you what the experience of a new catheter is. It's a rubber tube about the diameter of a straw. It's thicker, but the interior diameter is about the diameter of a straw. It's flexible rubber. It's in the video. I have a video about it if you want to go look at it. I'll link it. And they grab you by the penis, take the rubber hose, they lubricate it, and they just start shoving it into your penis, pushing it in there. And it hurts. Well, it doesn't hurt. It's very, very uncomfortable. So I have the pain of, I'm trying to urinate and nothing's coming out, which is making my bladder just grow and grow and grow. But whatever in your bladder allows urine, whatever thing moves out of the way so urine can come out, wouldn't move. So I'm in extreme pain because I can't urinate. And then he takes this rubber hose, grabs me by the penis, shoves it in there. I'm on the bed screaming for two reasons. You know, because I have a catheter being shoved into me, and because I have to pee and I can't. So immediately, I mean, within a couple of seconds of him shoving that catheter in me, I can feel the urine leaving my body. And that pressure is over, and I'm no longer in pain from that. The catheter's in, and I passed out. And I was out for a few hours. I mean, it was just the whole trauma of that made me pass out. And I was out for a couple of hours. So I went home, contacted the doctor. They told me to come see them. I went into his office to go see him, told him what happened. And he told me to keep the catheter in for another 7 days. And they would take it out, and hopefully my bladder would not lock up again. So I had to wear a catheter for 7 more days. So did that. Had to go back to him in 14 days and have the catheter taken out. A nurse comes in, she preps everything, says, pull your pants down. I looked at her. So I pull my pants down, and she looked at me and she says, your underwear too. So I do all of that. And she says, jump up on the table, on the exam bed. So I lay on the exam bed, and she says, are you ready? And I says, well, I guess I'm as ready as I'm gonna be. And she grabs me by my private parts with one hand. She grabs me by the catheter, grabs the catheter in the other hand, and she gets to yanking. I didn't think it was ever gonna stop. She's yanking and yanking and yanking, and the catheter comes out. And she gives me this bucket. And she says, hurry up. She says, pee in this bucket. So I start peeing in this bucket. And she said, if I didn't hit, I think it was 200 milliliters, she said, you're going to have to get another catheter put in. So I'm peeing in this bucket, praying, Lord Jesus, let it be 200 milliliters. And it came out to like 195. But she said, that's close enough. So they gave me some instructions to just drink everything I could drink to make myself urinate as much as possible. And she told me, or the doctor then came in and told me to come back and see him in a couple of months. I had an appointment scheduled. I went in. He asked me a bunch of questions. How's your urination? You know, whatever. but I knew that ultimately I was going to have to go back for a new PSA test. And he told me that day, which was about a month after the surgery, he said, no matter what the PSA results come up to, he said, we're not going to do anything on the first test because, you know, you'll be so many, like 90 days, 60 days, 90 days post-surgery, we're going to do nothing. So I said all of that to say this, that when I went in there last week to do my PSA test, I got the results back, and where I went into the surgery at 3.02, 3.8, 3.2, something like that. I came out that day, my PSA number was a little bit over 4, which was a bit surprising and disappointing to me. I told the doctor because I would have thought that since the focal one, he said, removed a full 1/3 of my prostate. So, you know, whatever full size prostate I had, I now have 2/3 of a prostate now, and prostate doesn't regrow itself. So I'll always have 2/3 of a prostate now. But one of the things Dr. Henry was very good about telling me throughout the entire process was that focal one will only eliminate known cancer. Even though biopsies and ultrasounds and all those things show what they show, he said that the focal one can only eliminate known cancers that it can see, that's targeted based on the MRI results and all that. So, but he did tell me that no matter what the first PSA result was, he said, we're going to do nothing. We're going to do further exams or further PSA tests. We're just going to get a baseline. So when I went in there last week, my baseline new number is a little over 4. But they told me don't panic because the doctor said don't panic. He said because you are still just 90 days post surgery, and there could still be some residual inflammation, or some residual inflammation in there. So they scheduled me to come back on September the 18th, like next month, for another PSA test to see what my PSA number is in September. And hopefully, if God wills it, my number will continue to go down. And if it doesn't, I'll have to just trust God that everything will be okay. Prostate cancer is said to be one of the slowest growing forms of cancer there are, except for aggressive forms of it. The prostate cancer that was removed from my body, I was told by the doctor, even in its microscopic form when it was found, he said I probably had it close to 2 years before the PSA test even picked it up, which shows how slow it grows. So I just want to do an update on that. I had to do this yard work. I'm done with what I wanted to do here. Another B-52. I wanted to get this yard work done, get some sweat out, get some exercise in, and do an update on that situation because there are people who have sent me questions about, hey, how are you doing? Haven't seen an update on that prostate cancer situation lately. So I wanted to just do an update on that. Boring as it may be, I'm sure some people probably tuned out already. But if you haven't and you stuck around, Thank you very much. Please like, share, subscribe, and do all the other good YouTube stuff. I want to thank everybody who has been so positive and watched my previous videos on anything that I've done, and for my subscriber base. And just want to thank you all for that. And so that's my update. My PSA came out to a little over 4, and which isn't a dangerous level for me, but what I don't know now is it at 4 because all the prostate cancer wasn't found, or it wasn't removed, or is it just residual inflammation from the surgery, or have I reverted from prostate cancer to prostatitis, which prostatitis is a thing, which can come from an infection or just an elevated prostate based on age and so other things. A high PSA is not always indicative of prostate cancer. So just like prostate cancer doesn't always show an elevated PSA number. So that's my update. Please share your experiences, send your comments, and let me know if you've gone through this or anybody else you know have gone through this, how they dealt with it, how you dealt with it. Like Dr. Henry told me with my first meeting with him after the surgery, I said, what do I do now, Doc? Well, while I'm dealing with this catheter and everything, he said, just to the best of your ability, he said, just go live life, and we'll worry about the details as we learn them. So that's what I try to do. I try to just live life. So you guys do the same thing. Go live life. Check up on your health. I've said it in my other videos. Go get your prostate checked. Get your colon screenings done. I do those things. Get those things done. So if you do have something like that, it'll be found as early as possible. And I have a indirect family relation through marriage person who just passed away from cancer just this week from complications from breast cancer, which she thought she was just having symptoms of aging or whatever she chalked it up to. She finally went to the doctor. She had breast cancer, but it had started spreading. And this was in, I want to say May or June when she found out, and she died about 3 days ago. She died. So she literally had 90 days from the time they said, ma'am, you have breast cancer that has spread throughout your body. And she died about 3 days ago. So get yourself checked out. So if they do find something in you, they can get on it right away while it's still small and hopefully remove it so it doesn't spread. Go start your own YouTube channel, folks, so we can see what you do all day long. So we can give you some likes, shares, subscribes, and hypes. Do the same to me. And by all means, go do something that you always wanted to do and do it before you die. So people cannot go to your funeral and say, she always wanted to come out and trim her hedges because she doesn't want to hire a gardener. But she died before she had a chance to do it. See you in the next video, folks. Stay prayed up. Keep God first in your life.